But like, you know, in my situation with her, I mean, whether or not I handled it well or stupidly or whatever, I mean, you know, I'm not above fault. I'm not above criticism in this. You know, I could have done better or could have done something different. But like, I still, like I mentioned this, I think in a comment online recently, where it was like, I still can't even summarize what her point was about how I used to be a scholar of Buddhism, therefore I'm a terrible person, therefore I'm comparable to Durian Rider in leading an echo chamber of people who just agree with me. Like, it was like this real, like, in terms of like the rationale of her criticism of me, it's like, I've made comments about Buddhism on the internet that other people find offensive. It's like, right, I've also published peer-reviewed articles, which she has never done in her life on any topic ever. She's never published a peer-reviewed article on anything. So like, you know, yes, I've also delivered papers on Buddhism, history, philosophy, politics at Oxford University, England, to an audience entirely consisting of senior professors and my wife. Well, yeah, my wife had a PhD too. I think I was the only person there who didn't have a PhD. It was an extremely elite level, you know, at the formal invitation of Professor Richard Gombrich. I've also delivered lectures in Taiwan and Cambodia and other places. But like, there's a lot of evidence that I know what I'm talking about Buddhism, you know, apart from the articles themselves, which you can scrutinize. Most of my stuff you can get on the internet, you know, with a little bit of Googling around. But it was like, really, both at the time and afterwards when I watched your video, it was like, so your reasoning is some of the stuff I say about Buddhism is offensive to Buddhists, or offensive to some Buddhists on internet discussion forums. It doesn't mean there aren't other Buddhists who don't like deeply appreciate my contribution to the field, which there are. And therefore, I'm the same as Durian Rider, and I'm leading like an echo chamber of people who only agree with me. It was like, that's my honest attempt to summarize her argument. I can't do better at summarizing her side of it.
How is that an echo chamber? Why is it an echo chamber?
Right, but also, like, what does this have to do with veganism and my saying that her position on cow milk and backyard chicken eggs? Weren't we discussing castrating dogs, backyard chickens, and backyard cow milk? And also her pro-Peter Singer position? Like,
so the next one, number 6, I think, do I worship at the altar of Peter Singer and think that painlessly killing animals is okay? So this is actually a pretty simplistic understanding of Peter Singer's views, as well as I know. And I actually did once agree with him, as evidenced by this interview, which I think is where this is all coming from, which is totally fair. This is one of those examples where that's why I didn't want to call this video trolling, because that's totally not trolling. It's totally reasonable to think that I view things that way if you read this interview. So.
Well, it would still be a guilt by association.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. But still, in this case, it's wildly wrong. But the same was true of the thing with me and Buddhism, right? It was like, look, you know, like, even if I'm a terrible scholar of Buddhism, even like maybe I'm the worst scholar of Buddhism who ever lived, okay, but weren't we discussing castrating dogs, backyard chickens, and backyard cow milk, and also her pro-Peter Singer position, like. Those are the bases, you know what I mean? So maybe I've done some terrible research about Buddhism, but how bad would my research on Buddhism have to be to invalidate my claims about dog castration? It's just, you know, it's weird.
It would have to be a point about dog castration. I mean, your point about Buddhism is just fundamentally a different point. It's not relevant.
Yeah. And her mode of reasoning there was, this is entirely, like, I'm really just summarizing. Her position was, she has seen internet websites, you know, like chat rooms, where people said terrible things about me and my scholarship was, therefore, I'm a terrible person. I was like, and I wrote her email saying, like, look, I don't know.
She said that.
Yeah, no, that's her argument. I mean, in the video, she chopped it down. In the email, but it was like, look, so your point is, like, you know, I wouldn't judge anyone's research that way, especially if they've done research and published it, or at least posted on the internet. You know, I've posted way more stuff on the internet that I've had go through peer review and formal publication. But still, it's like, well, it's both there. You can see this career I had over a period of a decade or more. It's like, well, it's not like you have to rely on some crap an anonymous person said in an internet forum you can compare this to the primary source. So yeah, on the other hand, it's like Tana Mongeau. Why is Tana Mongeau rich and famous and not 100 other YouTubers? There's a lot of chance, a lot of arbitrary circumstance involved with this kind of thing, right?
Just not a singer expert. Eggs from rescued chickens that live like in someone's backyard, and they're well cared for. They're treated like you would treat a dog or a cat, right? I think a really good example would be a backyard hen. Having a hen who produces unfertilized eggs and then consuming those eggs, assuming the hen is well cared for and loved and all of that kind of stuff. What would be the harm? Drinking milk, like drinking cow's milk, it could be another example of use without exploitation. Just not a singer expert.
À bas le ciel.